Hey, Kat, nice to see you. Kat, you must be up pretty late.
Hiya, how's everyone doing?
Oh, okay,
It's,
great.
it's about 1 o'clock here now in the
Yeah,
UK. So,
that's great. Well, Kat is from the UK, and she's had some very interesting dreams. She had the one about uh, what was it that the gods had all left and said we're not going to have anything to do with you. And then what was the one that you just had? Uh, it was it was they're just absolutely exquisite. I mean, how intuitive they are. And there was another one too. I'm trying to remember. I told you about it, Roy. I can't remember what it was, but it was just this wonderful dream. But anyway, how you doing, Kat?
I'm fine. Thanks. I'm just, well, as I say,
So,
it's late and I can't sleep. So I thought I'd just
oh,
come out and
okay.
chat with you
Well,
lot.
fabulous. Well, I mean, I know you probably are kind of a little cloudy headed or whatever, but do you have any I mean, I know I've heard three of your dreams.
Yeah.
Uh which one do you which one do you think has the most energy in it?
Um, I don't know. All three. I mean, I told you about the
Really?
one when I was asked what was my contract with God,
Oh yes. Now that was so wonderful.
and then the one with the goddess that was peed off with me for finding her.
Yes.
And then the other one that was like uh, a bit vengeful. But the one I think I would be most interested in is the one with the stromolites that I said about those living fossils.
Yes. Now that was where you stepped on some
That's it.
fossils. Yeah. Why don't you again describe that? Hi, Charles. Charles is here too. I mean, I think he's
Hello, how's
just
it going?
recovering from COVID, but Kat's having a little insomnia in the UK, and I would love to hear that dream again. It was where you were stepping on fossils who almost spoke to you, or just tell us what it is. Just try to
Okay.
describe it from the
Um,
beginning.
well, it starts off at night time, and I see a lot of black cars, and we're out in woodland, and there's snow on the ground, and I'm then with lots of people, and I see a large house, like a stately home, and this is in daylight, and it's got red brick walls surrounding the property. And then I'm with a friend of mine who's with a bloke, and there's all these stromolites just dotted about, and they have like a vivid green, like moss on top of them.
Mhm.
And I stand on them and I move about on them because I need to get somewhere, but I can't go on the floor. It's like I have to tread on them to get wherever I'm going.
Mhm.
And the last thing I see is that I'm suddenly sitting on a doorstep with a with my friend's ex. This is in the dream,
Mhm.
and he's telling me that he still loves my friend, and but she would never forgive him to trying to split up her and a new boyfriend, and that was the end of the dream.
Okay. All right. Let's go. Hi, Azine. And Tim's here too. Uh, yeah. Hey, Azine. We're just going over. Kat had these three dreams. I mean, well, there was one where she had the contract with God, and then she had the one where the goddess was fed up with her and going to leave her alone. And then this is the dream about the stromolites, and I'm just going to try to restate it here. Let's see if I can get a picture of the stromolites. Hi, Tim. We're just doing Kat's dream. Now, she lives in the UK, and so she's having a little bit of insomnia. It's about 1 a.m. there. But let's see, Stromatolites here.
All right, I'm happy to see Azin here too.
Yeah, Nazin
too.
is here too. Yeah, she's been so helpful on so many things. Okay, a stromalite is, let me see if I can just get a picture of one. How would you describe it, Kat? A stromalite.
Well, my understanding, obviously, that they're very old, but they're very precious and they need to be protected. And that, from my understanding, they're under threat from urbanization and the change in climate and things like that. But I think they are something to do with you know, when life was started out as a
Yes,
single
when life
cell.
was first starting off. There
That's
is one it's in, I believe, Montana,
Okay.
and it's 3.5 billion years old. There's some in Australia,
Yeah,
but it's the first forms of life that were ever seen on Earth.
Yeah.
And it comes from the word stroma, which means a layer, and lithos, which means rock. So layered rock, layered sedimentary formations. Are called they are created by photosynthetic organisms such as cyanobacteria, which I believe are yellow, sulfate reducing bacteria, and protobacteria. So it's the earliest form of life there is. There is no earlier form. Now, isn't this amazing? You know, because this has been sort of in my active imaginations to go back to where. Oh, did you get one? Great.
There you go on this.
Yeah, the
brilliant.
stromolites. Yeah, but they're some kind of a bacteria rock formation. You know, so anyway, it's at night. They now what was it you were it was what was about the blackness?
So the dream starts off that it's at night time and I'm in a woodland, but there's black cars, and I mean
Black cars, yes.
like old fashioned ones, like the 1920s or 30s.
Okay. Yeah, so they you could get they said Henry Ford used to say you can have any color you want, a car you want, as long as it's black. You know? For some reason, all the cars were black. And you're in a woodland and there's snow on the ground. And so let's say first we're at night. The cars are throwing us back almost 100 years. I mean, so we seem to be in a very early part. All of this sort of speaks of something of the prima materia, the original material. Okay. Now you're near a stately home with red brick walls with your friend. Okay.
Yeah.
Now you see stromolites with vivid green moss on them. You are standing on them, and you can't go anywhere unless you tread on them, okay, to get where you're going. And you finally end up on a doorstep with the friends and his ex. Is it just the friend's ex, or is your friend there too?
My friend, it's just my friend's ex.
Okay, so you've separated from your friend, and now you're with your friend's ex. And he says that he still loves her, but she will never forgive him. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So let's just go through this, because there's these chapters that are kind of like, I always say that from that, each one is suggestive of what follows. The first is just sort of this setting that it is night. So now we're in a time of day that is everything is mysterious. Nothing is clear. You know, everything is dark. There's just this aspect of mystery. Is there something over there I see? You know, or is it a shadow? You know, it's just the act that the dark, like the sea, holds, obscures our vision from what lies within it. You know, now we're in a woodland, so we are near a field of the rooted things. This is just so symbolic. Now there is a little bit of snow on the ground. So we're going into a time of dormancy. You know, I mean, it's a time where life is dormant, you know, during the winter. Now it also nearby are stately homes with red brick walls around. So you know, I mean, I would say that you know, so we're not really in the collective, we're outside. You're not inside the red brick walls.
No.
Yeah, so you're sort of outside these sort of very advanced conscious attitude compounds, let's say. So we're in the night, we're in this sort of unconscious realm. Now we're with our friend. Okay, now this is be a woman friend, and so I would guess, I mean, you know, a lot of the times I think the friend is the helpful companion, not necessarily the shadow, but we don't know that right now. Okay, now that's the first half of the dream. Okay. Now there's some the mystery in that. What's the most surprising thing in that dream? That the cars are 1920s cars, you know, so we're almost like 100 years back in time or something. That's the most striking thing about that, other than it's late at night, we're in the woodland and we're in snow. So there's just this sense of an omen here, you know, there's ominous happenings. Now we get into the very mysterious part. We're in the ground is covered with the most ancient life form on earth, and there's moss. So I mean, moss is also very primitive life form, and this is the absolute first recorded fossil evidence of there any life on Earth. You know. And that is our ground. That is our ground. So it's almost like we are at the creation of the world. You know, we're standing on the creation of the world. Now, Jung tells us that when we become conscious of the psyche within us, we are creating a world. You know, Martin Buber had this you know, he became a Hasidic people in Poland, you know, and he read the story of the Baal Shem Tov, that meant the master of the good name. His name was Israel ben Eliezer. And here was what they said about him. He awoke from his sleep with fervor. He arose from his bed with fervor. For he had become like the Holy One. Blessed be he, worthy to create his own world. You know, I mean, the idea is that we're standing on the created ground, which I think is an intimation that through our relationship with the psyche, we too are going to have life appear within us where there was no life before. You know, I mean, I go down and I see the Great Mother, and she is on sitting there all alone on the earth before there's any life on it, pregnant with potential life, you know. And okay, now there's vivid green moss on it. So, you know, Hildegard of Bingen, you know, she was this master of greenness, you know, everything that you know, the greenness, that was a theme in all of her writings, was what greenness represents, which is new growth. Now you're standing on them. There's no way you can walk without treading on the original created world. Okay. Now, okay, so that's the second part of the dream. Okay. Now, the third part of the dream is suddenly the animus appears, or some male figure. Okay. I'm just guessing that it's the only male figure we've got. I think there is a quaternity. I think the quaternity is you, your friend, the Stromolites, and the animus. You know, so there's if there is 4, that's the way I would count them. Okay. Now, so you're on a doorstep. You're at a threshold crossing with the no longer connected with your friend animus. So, and he feels rejected. Okay. Now, this other friend could either be your shadow, or it could be some aspect of yourself, who's represented as the helpful companion. And this was its male companion, now rejected. And why is it rejected? Because it has done something that cannot be forgiven. Now, do you know what that was?
I don't know exactly, but he said he tried to split her and her new partner up.
Okay. So she actually had she had rejected him or moved on from him, had another partner.
Yeah.
And then he came in and tried to sow discord between her and her new friend, her new male friend.
Yeah.
And so then, because he had done that, he had created such animosity in her that he had burned all his bridges to possible any connection with it. Okay, well, this is a very, you know, I just say it's a very mysterious dream. Let's hear what everybody has to say. Roy, what do you think?
Yeah, that's a tough one without having any context. It seems like you're saying, Craig, it's a period of dormancy, and there's you know, something's going to happen. It's just a dormancy is here, and something can be born from that, because it's very dormant, all the way back to Stromolites. And that's all I'm getting. I mean, that's where I'm at. It just seems kind of bleak, like dormancy.
Well, I would say the bleak aspect is nothing is differentiated. You know, it's all potential, but it's in sort of a chaotic state. There's no formation yet. But the fact that these magical things are here is you know, they are unbelievable magic. I mean, the Stromolites, and the fact that you have to tread on the original forms of life on Earth, that surely means something in our own life.
Definitely starting it with some good prima materna there. You know,
Yes,
the real base stuff.
yeah, I mean that image is as striking an image as I've ever heard in a dream. It really is. Azine, what do you think?
I'm trying to understand the dream. I think I was late or something, but trying to understand what's going on in the dream.
Well, let me just give you the 3 quickly. Okay, It's in the night. She's near a woodland with some snow on the ground. There are black cars. All the cars are black. So they are almost like cars from the early part of the 20th century, the 1920s, for some reason. So, I mean, this is very mysterious. She is in a place where there are stately homes, but they're all walled off with red brick, you know, and she's with her feminine friend there. Okay, that's part one. Okay, that's it. Now, part two is she finds that she is standing on the fossil evidence of the absolute first forms of life on Earth, stromolites. And there's also this vivid green moss on them. Now she is standing on them and she can't walk anywhere without walking on them. Okay, that's the second part of the dream. Okay. The third part of the dream is suddenly the friend is gone. She is with the ex male companion of the feminine friend, which, you know, I'm thinking would probably to me be an aspect of ourselves, a helpful companion, one that is more linked with the inner world than we are. And then this companion has burned all his bridges with connection with the feminine because he tried to interfere with her love relationship after he left. So, I mean, tried to break them up. That's the third part. Okay. Now, these are all interconnected. From one, something else comes. From that one, another thing comes. Often are there bookends here, you know, and then this magical event in the middle. What now? Do you have any associations from that, Azine?
Something came to my mind while you were explaining the dream was, I think the first part is all about black and night and winter and unconscious. So it's a kind of getting stuck, being stuck, I think, especially winter, anything frozen, it's just stuckness. So there's a kind of consciousness that is we are stuck in it, right? And then the old cars, which are the vehicles of movement, and they're old. I don't know, you have to do something, some kind of personal association. I don't know. Old vintage cars are really nice for me, but for you, it might have another connotation or meaning.
The ancestral vehicle, maybe?
Yeah.
A vehicle related more to the ancestors.
There is old, like old cars, and there is ancient, like primitive stuff, right?
Yes.
And in primitive stuff, there was death and also life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there is something old can be dead, right? But something ancient and primitive, they can hold the seed of life still, right? And then the lack of communication of separation between the animal figure and an animus figure. You know that animal and animus, they're in liver, like they bring life. So anytime that there's any disconnection between animal and animus, it's like life has been cut off. So I don't have any interpretation, but these are the things. I think the theme is about death and life, or finding something in the old and ancient that is still alive.
Both are connections with the primordial.
Yeah.
One is the primordial vehicle. Now, the vehicle tends to represent, to me, just this is my own, for my own dreams, either the house or the car tend to represent that which contains me, you know, and I am not its master. You know, the car always drives itself. But anyway, we're in the realm of primordial soul containers, or whatever you want to call them, and primordial life. But you know, I'm just trying to add to what you said. As far as the oldness, just some other words, primordial.
Also red and black. You said the houses had red roofs.
Well, the red brick. I was just
brick.
thinking of something to do with the feeling function, or some
Blood,
energy.
life, Persephone, there's all related to. I think it's good to know the collective meaning, or collective refer to the collective symbolism, but most of the dreams, it's really important to do the personal association. Like the first thing that you want to do is find the major themes. Like there's a couple of them, 3 of them, 2 of them. And then you write them down and you make associations, personal associations around them, like a circle. Because the dream, as Jung says, it's circular. It's not linear.
Yeah, you want a
So,
cluster of things. You want a cluster
of associations, right? So we can give feedback, you know, but it's I mean, it might be very personal feedback that I give, like the meaning of car or red for me, you know, or collectively. But it's also very important that as we are giving the feedback, the person that has the dream should also do some personal stuff in the meantime and give us a personal idea of what is happening there. You know,
Well, yeah.
Like what is the car for you? What is this male figure? Who is he? What kind of personality he has? Because as Hillman says, we are not adding anything when we say, oh, this figure is animus, right?
Yeah.
We just need more details, like what kind of animus? What is he representing?
Yeah, is he a negative animus? He seems to be a negative animus because he's one who spreads discord.
It's disconnected, right?
Yeah.
But it's but I think that this dream, I don't know, cats should know better, but to me it's a kind of disconnection. Reminds of kind of connection with the source of life in the psyche. That has
what do you think about what do you think about the disconnection from the walled-in stately homes? She's sort of walled out of the stately homes in a woodland area with the stromolites and with the ancient cars. So, I mean, what I was thinking from her other dreams is that she lives at least her psyche is sort of a primordial being. You know, I mean, it's just one that's not very comfortable with collective life.
Yeah, and do these homes houses look alike? They're similar to each other?
Sorry, it was just one house, and
one house
in the woods at night when we met with the black cars. It was like a meeting. It was a meeting of people, or whatever.
Okay.
But I didn't see many people. I just saw people pulling up in their black cars, if you see what I mean.
Oh, that makes a difference.
And then the stately homes, this was in daylight, and it
Oh.
was like a busy street. But you know, when you go to a high-end place, you know, where they've got lots of stately homes or whatever, you know, rich. It was a rich place. Yeah, all I just saw was this lovely home, but we had red brick all around it, and it was, you know, I was in the street really.
Yeah, that's why the personal stuff is important. I don't know red bricks, what is for you. And forest is obviously unconscious. House is usually the state of consciousness. State of consciousness that we are. So in this dream, the state of consciousness that you are in is a meeting of different personalities or figures, inner figures. They're meeting with each other. They're consulting with each other. Or they're trying to reconnect. There's some disconnection. They're trying to reconnect. That's what I think so far.
Yeah.
Well, let me just say that was very good clarification, Kat, for me anyway, because now I know it's not stately homes. It's one stately home that is surrounded like almost in a temenos. So it's almost like a mandala. The center, the center is behind the brick wall, you know, and so we're sort of on the outside of the center. It's a temenos. If it's a square yard or something, you know, it's sort of this aspect of there is a stately home. Well, who lives in a stately home? You know, some great being. And who is the great being? You know, it's this being of the center. So we're sort of outside it. But really, what is the connection with our standpoint is on the oldest, on the first forms of life on earth, the first evidence of creation of life on earth, you know, and that's our standpoint. And we're standing outside the stately home that is walled in, so we really can't see in it. And also, if there's a meeting, it's a meeting of people who drive cars that are 100 years old. So it's somewhat of like a meeting of the ancestral world, and also and our standpoint in meeting this, our foundation, the ground we stand on, is the first forms of life in the entire world. Now, to me, this is the in all of the three dreams I've heard from Kat, they are all incredibly intuitive. You know, I mean, now what I mean, not what I mean by intuitive is the intuitive. What is the intuitive an expert at? Is he an expert at, you know, spotting birds and stuff? No, he knows the secret goings on of the inner world. I mean, that's what comes to him through his intuition, is the secret goings ons of the inner world. That's what he's sort of the expert at, you know. And so here are all these very intuitive dreams. I mean, if you've ever done a Myers-Briggs test, Kat, I'd really love to see the scores on it for intuition, because these, at least your psyche seems to be very serious.
What was that test? I've never heard
the
of it.
Myers-Briggs test. It's just I will send it to you, but it basically just tries to do the thing they really young wanted to do. Is what is your unconscious function?
Okay.
Now, I would guess that your unconscious function is sensation, but are you a particularly good at finding things and or not? I get lost everywhere I go.
Yeah, so do I. But
Yeah, okay.
no one wouldn't have said so. But you know,
Well, even if I'm in a familiar place, I get lost. You know, I mean, seriously.
I'm not that bad.
Yeah, but I have like a bubble that's 6 inches around me. You
Yeah.
know, and there isn't much outside there I see. But I'll send you a link, or I'll email it to you. Tim, what do you think?
Well, this is really a reach, but I'm thinking of the collective associations, and I agree with Azine that the personal is going to be more accessible and more meaningful, maybe. But as far as my artistic inspiration, I often feel is something that has nothing to do with me. I'm just picking up signals from the culture, and that's the way I feel about this. That it's a pretty accurate description of humanity dealing with the climate change crisis. Here we are in the dark of night with very bad information, and a lot of it is very old. And our tools seem to be pretty primitive tools, like the kinds of things that are available to us are the kinds of tools that were developed 2 and 3 generations ago. And we're next to this stately home, which is like the rich nations that are insulated from reality and are able to sort of go blithely along without really paying much attention. And yet, every move we make is treading on the very stuff of life. And this reminds me of, I get into the car and I think, well, I wonder if the carbon that I'm putting into the atmosphere is the carbon that's going to make the Gulf Stream all of a sudden reverse and plunge the world into climate chaos. Because there's a sense where each one of our actions may just have maybe the straw that breaks the camel's back and changes history forever for every life form, including the most primitive ones. And so just going through the dream, it makes me think, my God, this is what it feels like to be an individual at this time of life when the whole earth might be pitching over the cliff, and my actions make a difference. And yet the tools I have to address it are very, very primitive tools. And I can't get to the powers that be because they're on the other side of the wall. Craig, you mentioned that there are awareness. When we become aware of the psyche, we're creating a new world. And that reminds me of this moment in history where we actually could create a civilization that is more responsive. And the X to me represents this kind of masculine attitude that is anti-relational, that's going to just use nature as a tool instead of being related to it. And if we were related to nature, we would have the kind of immediate, we'd be in the immediate crisis attitude that we have with COVID, where we apply all of our tools, we come up with a vaccine, we distribute it worldwide. I mean, that's a really responsive human family. When it comes to nature, we all just throw up our hands and say, well, what can we do? Instead of applying the tools that we do have. So anyway, all of those symbols point in the direction of trying to deal with a global situation when the tools that I have and that each one of us have are just personal tools.
Yeah, well, that's that definitely adds something. What do you think, Charles? Let's add. Charles usually has some pretty good comments. Thank you, Tim. Those are good.
So the path itself is very old and just makes me think of walking this ancient primordial path, which is the path. This is the path to consciousness that was laid out before us, you know, in the dawn of time. And it's our individual path, yet it's the path as far as the most general, broadest sense goes, because it's the path that the creator made. But it is this individual's opportunity to walk it, and to own their own path and to own their own life. And I almost want to draw tarot cards because I want to see if the lovers come up, because we have this situation of this possessive animus.
Yeah.
If anything, he's possessive, and he's not focused on which,
On the
obviously,
higher animus. The higher animus. He's not the higher animus.
well, I mean, he could be, but it's the representation of him in this particular dream image, of course, is not, because he's all possessive, and this is not an animus, that is focused on the relationship between itself and the dreamer. This is an animus that's, oh, I miss your shadow so much. I wish I could be with them, but I am a betrayer, and now I'm just going to have to sabotage things. There's also sabotage there. I mean, if he was trying to break people up, then it's sabotaging. But it's just to me, from what it looks like, it's just like an obstacle on the path to consciousness, in which just some of the big autonomous forces that need to be united are just not united. Because
I think don't you think you're at the beginning of something, though? I mean, it hasn't unfolded yet. Yeah.
Right. It is I don't know. I mean, it seems kind of beginning-ish. But yeah, I mean, that's all I have.
Well, yeah, let me just tie it into the couple other dreams. First, there's the contract with God, that she signed a contract with God. Okay. Now the contract with God is the contract with the organizing archetype of wholeness. Okay. We are, like, as Roy says, you can't really negotiate. To some extent, I would say this, that we we're sent out since the center wants to experience space and time and grow there, it needs a willing vessel. Okay. Now, so the idea of the contract, I will offer you this because what you can give me is worth more than what I give you. Now we sign a contract. I will give you what I have because what you have is worth more than what I'm giving up to you. That's the basis of any contract. Okay. So somehow we've made a contract with the inner world. Okay. Where we have obligations to it, it has obligations to us. And yet we both benefit. It's a mutual benefiting. Okay. That's the first thing. That's in the background, the contract with God. Then the second one is that the goddess says that she is going to go somewhere else because she doesn't find fertile ground here. Or I'm just putting words in your mouth, Kat. Could you remind us why she left? Or
She
what was the
left.
reason?
She left because it was like literally we are nailing her to the cross here. We keep talking
Yes.
about her dying. We keep talking about her being sick. We keep talking about her sort of running off and all this suffering.
Mhm.
And it's like, it's in her opinion, we've nailed her down here. She can't function.
There's nothing she can do anymore because, essentially no one's listening to her or something. They just, they're all so self-willed or something that she's not going, there's no relationship here whatsoever. Okay. So she's might as well leave or something like that. But now you got those two in the background. Now I'm just going to, again, go through these three sections. The first one is the important things in the first section are that it's night, are that the cars are 100 years old, and thirdly, there is a meeting in a stately home which has a temenos around it. It's almost like inside the brick walls are the sacred ground of the stately home, and that's where these meetings of inner figures are, who are very who are from another time, not our time, from another time. They are meeting in this sacred ground near the unconscious in a woodland at the start of winter, long dormant period. This is that long time of brooding. Now, isn't this when Persephone goes to Hades? Or this is when she's in Hades. She's not this. So this is when the goddess goes away. Okay, the goddess has removed herself. Okay, now so it's at that start, and we are there with our friend. Doesn't say what we're doing with her, but that's the setting: night, woodland, the time when the goddess of spring goes under into Hades. The this home where a great being lives that is surrounded by a temenos, or like almost a mandala, or some kind of a wall of quaternity or something. And we are there with a feminine aspect of us. Could be the shadow, could be the helpful companion. We don't know much about her. Can you tell us anything about your friend?
Only that she's my best friend, and it was fine being with her. So yeah.
So it is a helpful companion. Let's put it that way. Yeah. Okay. So now that's the first setting. Surprising, because of primarily because that the cars are very ancient, and it's a meeting of people who drive cars that are 100 years old. These very primordial cars. And they all drive, and they're all here. And at the meeting of the place where the great being lives. Okay. And so there's these aspects of us that are very old, ancient, or let's say venerable. They are wise, old wise beings. Okay. Now, that's a pretty good start. Then we go into the realm of complete magic, of the first aspect of life, of created life on the planet Earth. This is the only place, everywhere we that is our ground now, is the place where the created life starts. Now, what does that mean? To me, it is an absolutely beautiful image of our task here on Earth. Okay, to me, that's what it says. What is our task on earth? It is to be at the place where creation started, okay, where the created world came into being. And it's our created, the world, our inner world that we are going to create, that we are in desperate need of, and we lack, is this philosopher's stone within. That's the second part. Now, the third part is somewhat anticlimax, okay? I like anticlimactic endings, ones that don't lack punch. There's not a punching ending here, but we're on a doorstep. Now, it's a very interesting image. We're on the doorstep with the ex-friend, and I like the way that Charles framed it, that it was the betrayer of the feminine or something, the one who betrays the feminine, the one who sows discord is there, and but yet, even though he sows discord and is a betrayer, he still loves us, but he feels that he's burned his bridges behind us. So anyway, let's hear. Azeen's got is bursting. So let's hear Azeen and then Roy.
I was thinking that even before starting to interpret a dream, what we should do is we should think about how we felt after waking up.
Oh yes, that's very important.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's a general feeling like you're sad or you're worried or you're inspired or whatever. And I want to ask Kat, what did she feel when she woke up from this dream?
When I woke up, when I initially woke up, it was more to do with the bloke at the end, really, because it was like that was the last portion of the dream, and I was like, "I'll just get over it." Do you know what I mean? You're like a user type of thing. Just get over it. I've got no sort of time for you, because in the dream it was almost like he knows what he's done, but there was still an expectation of keep going back and keep trying to maintain a relationship or with my friend, and it's kind of like, I'll just get over it, just grow up, you know what I mean? It was like you can't keep
you wanted to move on, right?
Yeah, because it's like it's done, it's that was it. But
it's the stuckness. It's the stuckness.
Yeah.
Something is creating this stuckness and you want to get out. You don't want to.
Yeah, it's like being on a loop. It's like, as you say, you're just stuck on a loop, keep going around doing the same thing, the same story over and over again. That's what it felt like. But I wasn't too thing about that. And in some ways when the more I thought about the dream, it was kind of, I was a bit confused, but I have to say, what grabbed me was the Stromatolites. I had more interest in that than the other stuff, to be fair with you. I just wanted to know what that was about. All that other extra detail, like with people or whatever, it was just like old drama. It's like nonsense, just like bugger off, really. That's what you should say to a bloke like that. Just bugger off, because it's sort of useless.
It seems kind of funny, and I just that this anticlimactic ending. Okay, you start in this sort of a mysterious realm of the meeting of the people in the 1920s. Then you have the most magical experience that I can possibly imagine, that your ground has turned in to the first life forms. Then suddenly you're dragged back in to ordinary existence, where things just are in an infinite loop, where nothing ever gets accomplished. That seems to be what it's saying. Do we want to stand on the ground of the first of the most primordial the first. Okay, here's why stromolites are so amazing. Okay, before you have rock and sand, nothing else. Now suddenly there's something alive here, and it's your ground. Some new, absolutely new, miraculous thing has come from what was absolutely dead before. You know, at least, you know, if you say matter is dead, you know, at least it's not animated as far as we know. You know, you know, some people say that's illusion, that matter is dead. You know, everything is alive. You know, this, what is that there's this religion where everything is live. But anyway, this we're standing on this. So we went from the place of the meeting at the center. We started at the meeting of the center at night. From that, what's going on there, maybe what they're discussing, is the creation of life in ourselves. And suddenly we are now standing there and we're seeing it. I mean, it's just it is an image that I could not have ever guessed. It's so beautiful. And we're standing on it. So this is our ground. Okay. The third aspect is the contrast with this ordinary reality, you know, of maybe our male aspect. Our male aspect does not share this created masterpiece. It seems to have no relationship with it. It is one that drags us back in to things that are not feeding the magic of this thing.
I do feel like that, actually. I do feel like that, in all honesty. It's like, where is it all? I do feel life has become really mundane. That's the truth of it, actually. And
What's the contrast with this, though? You know,
yeah,
that magical place, and then the mundane aspect.
yeah, it is like a drag, and it's almost like, well, but how do you get past that? Because it's kind of like, well, this is it, and then you've got all that magic. How do you bring that in to make that alive? Because, or at least stop repeating this old story. I mean, even in the dream, I had no time for the bloke or whatever. He was like prattling on. It was just like, oh, right, whatever. And it was just so uninteresting. That kind of life with drama and is so uninteresting.
Yeah, and it's petty, you know, and
Yeah,
small.
yeah, it's like
Very
really
small, not
yeah.
not seeing the first little emissions of the great mother in the universe, you know, and that's where our ground
Yeah.
is. And it follows the meeting at the center in the middle of night with these cars from long ago. Roy, now, could you have any more thoughts on this now? Now, don't tell me you don't.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm like Kat. The numinosity here in this dream is just Stromatolite, and this thing it takes sand, rock and sand, and it builds layers with the minerals and the sands, and it builds these layers, and it makes these little pillows that go up a meter or so. And there's millions of years of history in there. That's information about our past, and it's layered out there, and it's a permanent record. But like Kat says, how do you bring this alive? What brings the life into the mundane world? And she understands the history and the evolution and the physical universe but what puts the life into this? And that's the thing that actually happened, the great mystery in our universe. And it must be something transcendental, you know, extrapersonal, transcendental. It's a transcendental thing. What is that? How does that get into matter? You know, she's almost there, because standing on this stromatolite, you know, you can feel it about to happen. She's right on the verge of it.
It's what they call an improbable state of order. You know, it absolutely is impossible. Could never come into being, and yet it's here. You know, now compare the stromolites with us sitting here talking on Zoom all over the globe. You know, I mean, and we take it for granted, but it's so totally magical. You know, why don't we all finish with some comments, and then Kat, maybe you can sum it up. I think you've done a good job, but if you have any more final comments, Charles or Tim, do you have any comments?
Well, I'm really resonating with the stromolites too, that just getting back to the very essence of life, you know, the reptilian brain, the biology of being alive is something that as a modern male, I really struggle to connect with my own biology. You know, it's so easy for me to go up into my head, and being able to recognize my animality is really critical. And I think we probably all suffer from this to a certain degree, that we spend all of our time in our thoughts and in our heads, on our computers. And when do we really connect with the biology that is our animal?
Incredibly difficult for me, I'll tell you that, to connect with the animal aspect of myself. I really try, but I fumble around. Roy's fairly successful, I think, at least in dream life, of connecting with the elemental nature world. Now, do remember, these are 3.5 billion years old. The Earth is 4.5 billion years old. The first billion years was just deadness. This is the first form of life. Charles, do you have any comments about it? And then I'd like to maybe hear from Azine and Kat one more time and see if they. Right there, Charles.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have a whole lot to add. Having difficulty just because the imagery is like slightly hard to imagine as far as like the sequence and like atmosphere goes. But I mean, I pretty much said everything I had the first time. So.
Yeah, well, let's hear now. Kat, do you have any final comments? Then I'd like to maybe have Azine sum it up if she can.
Yeah,
What her thoughts are.
I did. I want to thank you all for your input, because you've really sort of helped unpacked it for me, really like a fine wine, giving it a bit more life. But I do feel like fundamentally humans have got stuck on a loop, and then there's almost like there's not enough expansion, not enough growth. And I do feel that actually quite deeply. And it's almost like, for me, life is like very boring. It's unentertaining, it's petty, it's pointless. A lot of it's like pointless to me. When you look at things like racism and sexism, it's like, this is 2021. Are we still talking about the same bullshit? Like, really? It's kind of like, yeah. So, but I want to thank you all so much for your help.
I don't think your dream maker thinks the world is pointless, though, Kat. I think your dream
Where's
maker,
the human me?
yeah, I think your dream maker is just full of magic, really, just absolute magic. But it also has a critique, you know. but the thing that is similar to me to Roy's dreams, which are very elemental, usually always have these unbelievably unique life forms all over the planet appear in his dreams for some reason, you know.
Wow.
And so he's identified with some of the most unique life forms on Earth. And I think in your case, I mean, to me, if I had a dream like this, I would be absolutely dizzy, you know, at least by the middle part. I get the anticlimax at the end, and this sort of a see what is sort of this percolating in our world, you know, of these 19, now that's so mysterious, the 1920 cars, the meeting at the place where the great being lives, you know, very mysterious. This is not normal, you know. And then suddenly, boom, before us appears these 3.5 billion year old forms of life. And that's, we cannot go anywhere without walking on them. That is our ground now. Okay. Now that really is the end. That is sort of seems like the two halves of a dream, but then it is followed by, we have to crawl back into the wet bathing suit. And, you know, and our animus is sort of the wet bathing suit. The one that we're dealing with anyway is very small-minded. He wants things, but he's not trustworthy, you know, and he wants to be loved and respected, but he's not lovable. What he does is unlovable. Azine, let's just hear just your closing remarks, if you have any.
I hear a calling in this dream, and I want to ask Kat, but she already talked about it, that sometimes there's an event in our life and unconscious pick these events and start saying what is most important, right? But it uses this event to tell us that. For example, you may hear some argument. Somebody might be talking about another person behind some person, a phone call or something, or somebody's some kind of distraction, like daily life distraction that you do not like to be involved in. And then there's this dream that is talking about what is important and what is deeper, a deeper level in unconscious. I mean, our conscious response to many things. Like I ask a question about, should I take this job? And I may get an answer. But on deeper levels, unconscious is very primal, you know? And so I think this dream took you there, where the magic, real magic, and where the libido, the origins of libido is there. And maybe it's asking you to, because we can talk about goddess, all right, as an activist, which to me is really superficial. But we can go to a very deeper level of understanding the female energy. Yeah, I think these wonderful dreams, they are calling you there. Yeah,
I think you're right, Azine. Sorry to cut you off, Craig, because there has been, like what you're, Azine has said, there's been stuff around the goddess, or you know, workshops and things. But as you say, there has been a feeling for me very superficial, very sort of caricature, almost distasteful. You know what I mean? I don't mean to knock people or anything. You know, they represent the way they want to, but I have found it very sort of chiffony and trotting around wearing, playing flutes type of thing. But in some ways, you can't blame people for trying to connect. At least they are. But
for you, there's no connection there.
No, there is not.
There's disconnection.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just want to thank you all for that.
Well,
it's amazing.
the dream has a great statement about the new age. And what it does is say, okay, you want all this pretty colors and stuff. No, you get winter, and you get something from hundreds of years. I mean, it gives us the exact opposite, you know, of what we had. So it gives us gives us a world. Now spring's going to come, but right now we're in winter, you know, and yet there is a very important meeting going on, and then we see the gleamings of the initial life forms. And I just only mention this is because it seems a wonderful commentary on the superficial aspects of fake religion. You know, if I'm faced with fake religion and I get a dream like this, I know I am encountering the author of genuine religious attitude. And that he's saying we have to start at square one. You know, there is no and not square one, square zero. You know, it's starting really at square zero. You know, I mean, it is before anything has come into being. You know, it's just amazing. Well, let's see. We got about. Does Roy? Roy, do you have a dream, or Tim, or Charles? Thank you, Kat. Thank you, Zine and Roy and everybody. Roy, I think you're probably up, but
we all have dreams. I don't care. You know, anybody that has one, it's sort of burning in their pocket. Go for it.
Yeah. Well, either Tim or Charles or Zine.
I put
Yeah.
I did a drawing of the
Okay. Sure. Yeah.
dream.
Let's see it.
Shared
Yeah.
last
Let's
time.
see it. Mm-hmm.
Let me
Okay.
pull it up here.
Yeah, because you said you were going to do some active imagination on it. Okay.
Yeah, I did some active imagination, and then I just have been struggling with this idea of this dark, powerful, kind of primitive man that is threatening me, and I did some active imagination on
Yeah,
that,
go ahead.
in which
Go ahead.
he was not very articulate, just brutish, and angry. So, you know, not very much came of that, except I got the feeling that I need to be attentive, but there is some kind of association with the anima that I do not understand. That the two of them have some kind of an attraction, or some kind of association that I don't get to be a part of, and so it feels like my intellect gets in the way, that I need to approach this somehow with my body.
Yeah, I mean, your body is. Can you quickly just read that dream or put it in the chat and read it if you have it? I was trying to find it. I have it somewhere here.
Yeah, I've got it here.
Yeah, and just maybe you could read it real quick, because it's a pretty good dream. And now I just want to mention that Tim, I bet we've got 20, 25 dreams of Tim. And it is all dealing with this theme in different ways, but it's called The Woman in Danger. Okay, go ahead and just read it, Tim.
It's a little bit foggy, and that's exactly how it came to me.
Yeah, that's good.
And I think there are parts of it that I just totally forgot, because the ending is so stark and dramatic, and that's what I remember, is this terror. So, Woman in Danger. We went south with a guy from the department, a big fellow who can take care of himself. We were in his apartment, but then Bree and I left. We must have been looking for our place as we went down the street and opened a couple doors, behind which were dorm rooms that seemed lived in, but empty. I thought, well, maybe we could stay there. But then I look down the corridor and I see a gymnasium with all these boys. And as I said before, they're all dressed the same. So I thought it was some kind of boys' school. Then we went out in the street, and I lose some things here, but we ended up in a room with this huge hairy guy who looks like an ape. He grabs me and was aiming to punch straight through my chest, which could kill me. I made an escape, but now he's in there, she is in there alone with him. I wanted to return only a few houses down back to my friend's place, but now I'm not sure where it is. I'm terrified of what might be happening to Bree.
Okay, let's just kind of sum this up real quick, and maybe you can describe it in your drawing as well. I mean, we start out. It's the dream's called women in danger first. So it is this feminine aspect, and the anima represents the life force within us. The feminine life force within us is in danger. Now we go south. With a guy from the department. We're not sure what that means, but he's a big fellow who can take care of himself. So he is someone who is connected with the life force, has a healthy connection with it. He's this big fellow who can take care of himself. And you and this anima, this Bree figure, who is a model you're working with currently, I think, you leave. And because why are you leaving is because you're leaving the life force and yourself, this anima, this archetype of life, the archetype of the unconscious, that you lack and that you need to unite with, are looking for a place to live together. Now, it needs to be a place of great maturity. There needs to be great maturity on the ego side and great maturity on the anima side to have this kind of abode. But what we come to is a juvenile place, a place that is very juvenile, not adult. So we know that's not the appropriate place. So it could be saying something too, that our attitude towards the life force is needs to not to be a little more sober and adult or something. I'm not adult. That isn't the right word. It needs to be one of mature wisdom. Okay, it can't exist in the juvenile realm. That it was empty. There's no one there, but we know that it is the correct relationship cannot exist anywhere but in a place of mature wisdom. Okay, so now so we leave. So there's sort of this. It leaves us hanging there. We can't find in a place for to have the relationship of mature wisdom with the feminine life force within us. So a crisis occurs. We are in the room with the animal life force, not the metaphorical life force of the feminine, but this is the masculine aggressive life force, and so we've got the contrast between the masculine aggressive life force, which with the feminine transformative life force, and just because we need until we get the attitude of mature wisdom, our transformative life force is going to be, he drives us off, keeps her, but drives us off. The fact that he's hairy emphasizes animal nature, and he looks like an ape. Now, what he threatens to do is to punch us in the heart, to kill love within us. kill our feeling function, our heart. That's the way that is his threat to us. Unless you leave me and the transformative life force and flee, I will kill your feeling function. I will kill love within you. So we leave, okay? Yet we are fleeing away. We're not leaving voluntarily. And we are now terrified of not so much what's happening to Bree, but what is happening to our own redemption, our own way of uniting with ourselves, with that feminine aspect of ourselves that we lack. Now, could you show us that painting one more time and sort of go through some of these, describe what you're seeing there? Okay,
Yeah,
what's in the left hand there?
This part is just really nebulous. Here's this big guy, and we're with him, and it seems like, you know, he's just an acquaintance or something, but we know him, and we're in his apartment or something, and then we go outside into the street, and end up in another place where this hairy guy is.
Mhm.
And I don't remember what happens until he grabs me, and all of a sudden my memory is crystal clear because I'm just about to die, it seems like. And I don't have a feeling of how close I am to Bree, but she's there, and somehow we're, you know, we have a good relationship. So it seems like she's my anima figure. But I also feel like she can, there's a way in which she can take care of herself. I agree with you that this is my inner capacity, and I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about this big hulk of a kind of an ape man.
Who's now we've had several. This is the first one that has held us off from the feminine. If you remember in the other aspects, it is an authoritative woman who keeps us away from the house of four women, from the play where we were going to be with the anima, was a woman. Now it's this figure, which is very, I have not seen this figure before. Roy, do you have any, let's go through and see if anybody just has any initial
Well, I would
thoughts about it.
just want
go
to
ahead,
add
Tim.
that the
Yeah.
boys' school, what it feels like to me is I'm looking at my adolescent reaction
Mhm.
to things, and the rooms are empty because I don't live there anymore, but I can see down the hall that there's plenty of boys around, and so that kind of response, that adolescent response, is really immediate. But that's not going to work in this situation.
Yeah.
That's not going to help. I need to find some new way of entering this, especially the relationship between the anima and the green man, or whatever you call him.
Yeah, the big hairy man is the result of this taking our anima to the adolescent realm. You know, I mean, then suddenly he appears. So let's just go around the room and see what everybody thinks. Roy, what do you think?
Well, I like it that Tim's focused on the shadow, that he's wondering what this thing is and how it gets the anima. And I think that's exactly where he needs to be to make progress. And this shadow has his power. He's, as Cowshed says, he's the protector, persecutor. Now he's persecuting. He hits Tim in the heart where the feelings are. That is the secret.
Mhm.
You know, if he can keep Tim from feeling his feelings, from feeling, he can prevent him from getting his power back. And the shadow can keep the power. And it looked like it worked because you scared the hell out of Tim. And that's what Tim's going to have to do. He's going to have to say, okay, this is what this guy's doing. This is how he's getting his power. He's blocking my feelings. And that's where you have to go, I believe, to solve this mystery.
Yeah, it is a mystery. It's been a long unfolding mystery too. What do you think, Azine?
Well, I think very differently. I think this character that is somehow negative in your dream, it is provoking you not to avoid it or find a solution against it, but it is provoking you to live it, to integrate with it. Okay, so we have this. I know you're an artist, right, and an intellectual. So this character, artist, intellectual, they have a tendency to suppress the primitive, muscular character male in themselves. And one place that it starts, this wound starts to happen, is the boys' school. Like they teach you to be polite and civil and stuff. But in boys' school, if you don't have that ape figure in you, you're going to be bullied, you're going to be beaten up, right? And so I think the anima here is your, maybe the feeling, your feelings, but to me, it's more your artistic side, the vulnerable female side that you have to protect, right? And sometimes if we don't have this tough muscular side, we cannot protect this artistic side. It's gonna be punched, right? You can have a lot of insights, intuitions, beautiful ideas, art pieces, but if you're not able to protect it against this world, you're going to be punched, right? So I think this dream is actually encouraging you to live that side, to integrate with that side. It's like what Hillman says about fathering the child within, because there's so much emphasis on mothering the child, like recognizing the child within, protecting them, like embracing the feelings and the vulnerable child and stuff. But Hillman says that we have to father the child. We have to protect this side in the real world. Otherwise, we will be, it will be punched, beaten up. I don't know about your other dreams, but that's my feeling. That it seems to be a bad guy, but he's provoking you. He's trying to make you punch him back and fight back and integrate with that side of your psyche.
I very much agree. It is demanding a response. I mean, it feels it hasn't gotten the right response yet, and this seems to be a great demand for a response. Let's hear it from Kat and Charles, and then we might have to finish it Monday. Kat, what if this was your dream? I mean, or a friend's dream? What would you think?
I feel personally that there had been some sort of shock to the system where perhaps in a waking life or perhaps even your dream life, where there had been a frozen response. And now it feels like, because as time has gone on, there has been something that has woken this really angry giant within. The ape man feels like more of a giant, and being in a state of perhaps shock or frozen. But again, I think it's trying to unfreeze this fear or this power, should I say? And again, I agree with Azine. It's provoking you to take it on and deal with it head on. Because there is so much power and resource there that could be made available. It could be a very powerful ally if, you know, treated with respect, but at the same time, sometimes you can't always talk your way out or be intellectual about things. Sometimes you have to face things down and stare them out and be just as bad and just as tough. It's kind of like, I suppose, dealing with a bear. Sometimes, you know,
Turn and face it.
yeah,
Mhm.
that's what I mean. So thank you.
Yeah, we had the dream of the tower going into the earth, then we had the animal dreams, and now we have this thing. It just seems to be an escalation, I think, of some elemental aspect that needs to be faced. Charles, do you have any comments? And by the way, Charles, if you had a dream, we can do a one-on-one sometime this week too, if you want to. I know he's in New Orleans or Mississippi or something and having dreams like crazy. Go ahead, Charles.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was actually said quite well by Kat, I believe, that, man, there's like this massive force of energy that is totally just not integrated, because, I mean, it's threatening to punch you in the heart. So it's definitely very far from being integrated. And it's just this physical, raw, totally non-intellectual thing. Just pure body. And man, that's like so much energy there. It's crazy. And you're really gonna, I mean, to get in touch with that energy, you'll really, really have to totally get out of the head. Like totally.
Yep.
Yeah, it couldn't be more of a contrast with what Azine described as the artistic intellectual. Tim, do you want to have the final word on this? And then Roy, you'll owe us a dream next time. So.
Boy, this really feels like it. I think it's what it's about is a provocation, and you know, that's one of my weak points is I tend to be I'm the middle child. I'm used to being the peacemaker. I'm used to saying, okay, everybody calm down. But what I'm not used to doing is saying, okay, big buddy,
Yeah.
hit me with the worst you got.
Yeah.
Because I'm just not a fighter. But so that's the part that feels the least developed, is the fighting back part.
And you have this part in you,
Yeah.
This bear within you.
Yep.
So it's very interesting. Well, let's kind of review it.
I
next time you're here.
was just
Go
gonna
ahead,
ask,
Charles.
what does the dream make your body feel like?
Boy, that's a great question. I should, we're out of time, but I should do some journaling about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely body.
Yeah, just feel it out.
Yeah,
Feel
I
it.
mean, I when I see it, I could just feel body more than I can ever feel. Well, we'll reconvene on Monday, and whoever we'll try to be a little more. I mean, it was just that Kat's dream was so. I mean, it just fascinated me so much. So, but we'll try to do about 3 dreams a session, but we got 2 in. Well, thank you, Tim and Roy, and you. We need a Roy dream, and Azine, if you want to bring one, and Charles and Kat. So glad to see you here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Come back
you
again.
get some sleep. Yeah, what'd you say, Tim? Okay. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
See you later. Okay, bye.